Tama-Nuitera, the fiery sun god, raced across the sky, leaving little time for the world below to bask in his warmth. Each day was swallowed by darkness almost as soon as it began. One evening, as Maui and his brothers gathered around the umu, a pit filled with heated stones for their evening meal, their faces barely illuminated by the fading embers. "Another meal, eaten in darkness," grumbled one of the brothers. "This endless night is unbearable." "It's not right," another chimed in. "The sun leaves us no time for anything." Maui, renowned for his audacious feats, like hauling up the very island they stood upon, rose to his feet. "Brothers," he declared, "we shall capture the sun and force it to move more slowly." His brothers erupted in laughter. "The sun? Impossible. It's too vast and fiery to be tamed." But Maui possessed a hidden advantage, the enchanted jawbone of his ancestor, Murirangawenua. He raised the ancient relic, its polished bone gleaming like moonlight, engraved with swirling patterns that seemed to dance in the firelight. "With this," he proclaimed, "we can achieve the impossible." Intrigued by the jawbone's power and the strange symbols engraved into its surface, Maui's brothers fell silent. One by one, their laughter faded, replaced by a glimmer of hope. "How will a mere bone capture Tama-Nuitera?" asked the oldest brother, his voice a mix of doubt and awe. Maui smiled knowingly. "Tomorrow we gather flax at first light. We will weave ropes stronger than any you've seen, ropes that will bind the sun itself." The brothers, now fully caught up in Maui's infectious enthusiasm, nodded in agreement. The next day, the entire village, inspired by Maui's audacious plan, set to work. Men, women, and children alike harvested the flax, their fingers flying as they raced against the swiftly setting sun. As twilight painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, a mountain of braided flax lay shimmering in the village square. Maui, holding the jawbone aloft, raised his voice in a karakia, a sacred prayer that echoed through the gathering dusk. "Tonight," Maui announced, his voice ringing with determination, "we journey to the edge of the world where Tama-Nuitera rises each day. We will not rest until the sun heeds our command." With a newfound sense of purpose and a glimmer of hope in their eyes, Maui and his brothers set off under the cover of night, a tangle of ropes slung over their shoulders. Their path was lit only by the stars, guiding them towards their destiny, as the whispering winds carried their prayers for a brighter tomorrow. Their journey was arduous, a trek across rugged landscapes bathed in the silver light of the moon. They scaled towering cliffs, forded rushing rivers, and traversed dense forests where strange creatures rustled in the undergrowth. By day, they sought shelter in caves or beneath the shade of ancient trees, emerging only when Tama-Nuitera had completed his swift journey across the sky. The brothers were tired and sore, but Maui's unwavering belief in their mission filled them with renewed energy. They pushed onward, their hearts filled with the determination that mirrored their leaders. After many days and nights of tireless travel, they reached the eastern edge of the world, a desolate expanse where the earth met the sky in a fiery embrace. There, in a deep, scorched chasm, lay the lair of Tama-Nuitera, the sun god. The air crackled with heat, and the ground was blackened by the sun's relentless flames. "This is where the battle begins," Maui declared, his eyes fixed on the smoldering pit. "We must prepare ourselves for Tama-Nuitera's fury." Under Maui's direction, the brothers set to work, using the softened clay to construct small, sturdy shelters. They wove the flax ropes into an intricate net, strong enough to hold a mountain, and laid it carefully around the edge of the chasm. As the first hint of dawn touched the horizon, Maui gathered his brothers. "The moment of truth is upon us," he said, his voice steady. Remember, we fight not only for ourselves, but for all those who dwell in darkness. Now let us show Tamanuitera the strength of our will. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, the brothers crouched in their shelters, hearts pounding. The air grew hotter, the ground beneath them trembling. Suddenly, with a blinding flash and a deafening roar, Tamanuitera burst from the chasm. The sun god, a colossal being of fire and light, rose with incredible speed. His fiery hair streamed behind him like a comet's tail, and his eyes blazed with the intensity of 1,000 suns. Maui leaped from his shelter, the enchanted jawbone clutched tightly in his hand. "Now!" he shouted to his brothers. The brothers, their fear momentarily forgotten, surged forward. With a mighty heave, they pulled the ropes tight, drawing the net around the rising sun god. Tamanuitera, caught off guard, roared in anger and struggled against the woven flax. Maui, his muscles straining, moved closer to the searing heat. With a cry of defiance, he swung the jawbone and struck Tamanuitera a mighty blow. The sun god howled in pain, his light momentarily dimming, but he was far from defeated. "Foolish mortals!" Tamanuitera bellowed, his voice like thunder. "You cannot contain the sun!" He unleashed a torrent of fire, scorching the earth and forcing the brothers to shield their faces. Yet they held firm, their fingers digging into the ropes as they refused to let go. Maui, his skin singed by the heat, raised the jawbone once more. "We will not yield," he shouted. "You will slow your pace, or we will drag you down." The battle raged on, a titanic struggle between the mighty sun god and the determined mortals. Sparks flew as the jawbone met the sun's fiery form, each blow eliciting a roar of pain and fury. The brothers, their skin blistered and their lungs burning, watched as Maui continued his valiant fight. They knew that if Maui failed, they would all be consumed by the sun's fiery rage. But as they looked upon their determined leader, they found a renewed strength within themselves. With a mighty roar, the oldest brother rallied the others. "Pull!" he shouted, his voice hoarse but unwavering. "Pull with all your might! We must aid our brother!" Together, they dug their heels into the scorched earth and pulled on the ropes with renewed vigor. The net tightened around Tamanuitera, restricting his movements and hindering his fiery onslaught. Seeing his brother's valiant efforts, Maui's heart swelled with pride and gratitude. With a final, mighty swing of the jawbone, he struck Tamanuitera's blazing crown. The sun god stumbled, his light flickering like a dying flame. "Enough!" Tamanuitera cried, his voice now weakened and laced with exhaustion. "I yield." A hush fell over the battlefield as the brothers slowly loosened the ropes, their bodies trembling with a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. The sun god, humbled and subdued, rose slowly into the sky, his once blinding light now softened and gentle. "From this day forth," Maui declared, "you will traverse the sky at a pace that allows life to flourish. No longer will you dictate the length of our days. You will rise and set at a measured pace, bringing warmth and light to the world, but not consuming it." Tamanuitera, weakened but still majestic, nodded in agreement. He continued his journey across the sky, but this time at a slower, more deliberate pace. As he disappeared over the horizon, he cast a final warm glow upon the land, a promise of longer days and brighter tomorrows. Maui and his brothers, weary but triumphant, watched the sun's gentle descent. They had achieved the impossible, and the world would forever be changed.